My understanding is when you wrote it here on the what your source was or what you had heard, that no real specific issues related to the case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you've got, for example, names, place of crime, and names of people involved. I want to make sure I understand what you wrote here. When you say no real specific issues related to the case, you don't remember only the names?
Just a broad spectrum of names.
Okay. Right. And then the place of the crime and the names of the people, that's all you really recall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your contact with the media exposure in this case, would it have been at the time when this happened back in February of 2012, or would it have been recently? Or
No, it was back when it first happened.
Okay. And do you recall your exposure to it? Was it local or national news?
Local news.
Do you recall whether it was a newspaper, radio, or TV?
It was TV.
Okay. And what particular station do you recall?
Probably NBC.
Okay. And how about, did you ever hear about it on national news at all?
National as in like Today Show?
Yeah, or Fox News
yeah,
or whatever.
Probably Today Show is pretty much my source in the morning.
Okay, so
when
you stick to NBC locally and nationally?
Pretty much, and it's the only time I kind of listen to it is in the morning when I'm fixing I have a lot of animals and I do all their food in the morning,
okay.
So that's pretty much it. And newspapers are used in the parrot's cage.
I'm sorry?
Newspapers are used in the parrot's cage, not even read.
Do you read them before you
No,
put it?
I don't.
Okay. I'm not going to comment on that.
It's a lot better use in the parrot cage.
Okay, all right. So you have no use really for the newspapers?
I don't.
Okay, and why is that?
I just don't think they're truthful.
Okay.
I think there's a lean left or a lean right, politically.
Sure. And in terms of the newspapers, at least the local newspapers here, do you believe they lean one way or the other in terms of lean left?
I don't know. It's been so long since I ever even read one. The only time I see them is when I'm putting them down on the floor.
Okay. How about from NBC's standpoint in terms of the news? What do you recall other than the names? Anything right now? Now you've had some time to think about it. And what I mean by that is from Monday when you filled this out yesterday morning. Anything else kind of pop in your mind that you remember about the case?
Well, I remember the names.
Okay.
And I remember the issues in Sanford when they were having rioting.
Tell me what you remember about that.
That's pretty much it. Just that there was a whole lot of indiscretion and angry people and picketing people,
sure.
And a lot of news media.
Okay. Now, we have the First Amendment, we have the Second Amendment, we got all kinds of amendments. How did you feel about in terms of people having rallies around here? Did you form an impression based on that? Did you feel that was proper or not proper? What kind of things went through your mind?
Not really proper or improper. I mean, they can do what they can do as long as it's peaceful.
And did you think it was inappropriate what they did?
I think maybe it was overdone.
Okay, all right. As a result of that, did that impact you one way or the other to favor Mr. Zimmerman's side or the state side in terms of on behalf of Trayvon Martin?
Not really, because I think it's just an unfortunate incident that happened.
Okay. And I gather, based on your questionnaire, you have not formed an opinion in this case, correct?
I have not.
Okay. In terms of your exposure to the publicity or media aspect of it, on the radio, did you listen to it on the radio at all?
No, I don't listen to the radio,
okay.
really.
How about on your internet surfing? Are you not
I don't do that either. I'm
okay.
pretty much on the Candy Crush saga right now.
Okay.
Trying to get to the next level.
Gotcha. All right. So you didn't do any, like Facebooking or anything like that in terms of particular to this case? Right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
None.
How about, and you didn't do any research on your own?
No.
Okay, since you live in this community, at least in Seminole County, you didn't do any
I
research?
have no time to do anything other than
Okay.
feed my animals and sleep.
And how
Sometimes
about,
the sleep is rare.
okay. How about with friends? Did you have any discussions with friends in the community about what was going on, about the case?
Not really, just that it was there.
Okay.
I mean, politics and news, and I just kind of
Stay
don't indulge
away
in
from
it.
it.
Yeah.
How about family? Did you have any discussions with any family members where they gave you opinions or they talked about the
No.
facts of the case?
Absolutely not.
So you're one of those individuals that just focuses on what you've got going on in your life?
I do.
Don't worry about any other external stuff?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you normally don't get all the information, so how do you form an opinion if
So
you don't have the information?
You don't really trust the media in terms of being able to be accurate?
I do not, and I think it's that, I don't know if there's any way they can control media hype like that.
Sure. Now, the media sometimes, especially now with all the TV stations and stuff, and even some might argue the newspaper aspect of it, sometimes besides giving the news, they also sometimes give opinions, and they have people giving opinions. Mm-hmm. Have you paid attention to any of that stuff?
I have not.
Okay. How do you feel about that, people giving opinions about facts of the case or anything like that?
It's media. I'm not a big fan. I mean,
okay.
First
now,
Amendment, but...
and I know your exposure to this case in terms of the media aspect has been limited. Assuming you were to get on a jury and you're sitting in the jury and you're listening to the evidence and you hear, ABC, in terms of, one witness says ABC, and you go, hold on, now that I think about it, I do remember, I wouldn't say the newspaper because that's left for somebody else, but I do remember on NBC, something about this. My question is, in our mind, we have in our memories, we have stuff stored there, even if it's limited in terms of our exposure to this case. Do you understand under the law that you have to only rely on what happens in this courtroom, not what you might remember as you're sitting as a juror about what you had heard on NBC?
Yes, sir.
Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can concentrate on the facts that actually come out in this courtroom and the law that Judge Nelson will give to you?
Yes, sir.
In making your decision?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You got the jury summons. Obviously, the jury summons didn't say Zimmerman case, but it did say you were going to be a juror, right?
Exactly.
Upon receiving that, did you go, oh, maybe I will be on a particular case? Did you do any research about not just the Zimmerman case, but other cases that were going on to see potentially what you might be a juror for?
Not really, because I've been called 3 times, and pretty much I just come and sit.
Have you actually served as a juror 3 times?
I got called back for a jury, but then I was disqualified because I worked for a chiropractor, and it was a hit-and-run type thing.
Okay, all right, so... Have you kept up with any of the, even on NBC, have you kept up with any of the proceedings that are happening in the courtroom?
No.
None at all? Okay.
Since I've been called for jury?
No, I'm talking about at the beginning, when it happened back in February, and we're now in June, a year later, or more than a year later, I should say. Have you kept up with any of the proceedings that happened between February and June of this year?
No, sir.
Okay, you haven't watched any, because I'm just saying it would have been on the local news,
right.
On NBC. You would not have watched any of that? Okay, you don't remember anything of happening at all like that?
No. I didn't even know what he was even charged with until I got here.
Is there any doubt in your mind about whether your perception or what you recall, and I know it's limited in terms of exposure in this case, whether that would factor in at all or interfere with you being able to sit as a juror and keep an open mind?
No, sir.
Okay. So as we sit here today, as you sit here today, I'm standing, you feel you can be fair in terms of publicity that has not impacted you one way or the other, either in favor of Mr. Zimmerman or in favor of the state of Florida on behalf of Trayvon Martin?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I have a little here on. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Mara.